Welcome to Hospitality 360 with myself, Ken Patel. I mean, wow, I have two of the most powerful people in their own space today. I want to first welcome Stephynie Malik, CEO, founder of S. Malik Enterprises. Welcome, Stephynie. How are
Thank
you
you.
today?
Thank you so much for the invite. I'm so honored to be here.
Oh, thank you for being here. And Dr. Jeffrey O on the amazing things he does with hospitality, part of the International Hospitality Institute. How are you, Dr. Jeffrey?
I am doing brilliant, doing terrific. Such an honor to be on your show. Thanks for inviting me, and especially honored to be spending some time with Stephynie Malik. Thank you.
Well, thank you guys for being here. It's a pleasure. I mean, where do we start? I mean, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, Stephynie, and so the audience can get to know who the real Stephynie Malik is.
I don't know that you have enough time for that, but I'll give you a brief history. So Stephynie Malik, founder and CEO for S. Malik Enterprises. S. Malik Enterprises is 100% about white glove concierge service through crisis, business consulting, business strategy, and high impact coaching. We are a global brand in business, and we frequently travel. And so I have a lot to say about this subject.
Oh, awesome. I mean, that's phenomenal. Yeah, I love talking to you, Stephynie. You know that.
Thank you, Ken. It's always a pleasure.
Dr. Jeffrey O.
I don't know if you've got enough time, and I'm going to try to be brief as I possibly can. And so, Dr. Jeffrey O, call me Jeffrey, place husband, father, CEO, author, educator, booster for the hospitality industry, evangelist for the hospitality industry. I think that it about sums up my profile.
Yeah, I mean, you're doing amazing things, and obviously, I'm also on your board. It is the only board I chose to be on due to the fact I see your vision. I see what you're about, what you're trying to do for the industry, and that really gave me a lot of great insight to pick onto your board. And obviously, it's nothing against anybody else. If they're listening to the people that invited me to their board, it's nothing against you at all. But, it's just I saw the vision there, and people that know me, I am all about helping people. And obviously, the students of the game are very important at this moment. So great stuff. Great things that you're doing, Stephynie. Great things, Dr. J, that you're doing. I think you guys are two of the most influential people that I do know myself, with work that you guys do in what Stephynie does with her side of work, dealing with athletes and celebrities all day. I could just imagine what type of headache that is. And the innovations and the ideas that you bring to a university like IHI, Dr. J. So thank you guys for all that you do. So I kind of want to take probably to the first item here. And the first item, I think I just mentioned to you guys right before the show that there was a big announcement inside of EV today that we also posted on LinkedIn as well. And that is EV Smart. Now, people will say, okay, how many more brands, how many more things do you have up your sleeve? And I'll never be done. I mean, this is technology, and I think we have a piece here, and part of our show is going to tell everybody why we're so behind in the United States on technology in hospitality. And so what EV Smart is, I kind of want to just introduce everybody to the logo. This is EV Smart. It's a smart hotel experience. So the announcement here is that what we're going to be able to do, and it's not only about us, it's about the industry. And we want to bring technology to the industry. And how we're going to do that with EV Smart is we're going to be able to make any hotel in this entire country now a smart hotel. And what I mean by that, it is going to be controlled by the EV Smart app. It's going to be up to the hotelier how many smart apps they want inside the room. They can get up to 27 in total. They can put all 27 if they want, and they will be able to get that done in an amount that is just fascinating. Under $3,000 a room. That also includes your door lock. That includes your mirror. That includes your toilet. That includes your shower to automate your shower, smart speakers. I mean, I could just keep going on and we won't have time for the rest of the show. But I do want to bring in our president of the hotel brand for the EV hotel brand, Calvin Stovall, and where he can tell us a little bit about the EV Smart as well.
Hey.
Calvin.
Hello.
Hey, Calvin.
Hey, how
Calvin,
are you?
welcome to the show. Surprise guest, surprise everything.
Yes,
I just, the audience, I figured they want to hear from the president of the hotel brand and tell them a little bit about the EV Smart before we get into the show. I know you've got a busy day ahead of you, but thank you for taking the time to come on for these few moments of this exciting news with an EV today.
Yes, man. Thank you. Hey, look, I'm always excited to talk about EV. So really truly excited about the whole EV Smart, the app and all of that. I just think, I think everybody will agree that, unfortunately the hotel industry has been lagging a little bit when it comes to technology and upgrading those things. I think there's no argument there, but I think what's exciting is what we're trying to do here is, first of all, we know we're in what we like to call an experience economy, and people want experiences and people want convenience. I mean, all the stuff that we have at our homes now, I mean, customers are used to having those things. And so when they're traveling, they would like to have them as well. So I think EV Smart will actually help people be able to accomplish those things through the app. I think they'll have some fun as well with the technology. I think that's what's going to be cool about it all is, having the opportunity to talk to mirrors and do all kind of stuff that I think is pretty exciting. But for the hotel owner, I think there's going to be some efficiencies there that they're going to be able to enjoy. Less expenses on the housekeeping, which will lead to a higher GOP. Of course, ADR, you can enjoy hopefully with that as well. But I think what's most important is really about the guest. And I just think the guest experience and the employee experience is going to be positive because they're going to be able to enjoy some of these efficiencies as well. And having housekeeping being done by, technology and all of that. So I'm just excited about it. Excited about having join our board. And it's so excited to finally get to meet Mr. Jeffrey O.
Oh, you're too kind, Calvin. It's a pleasure to meet you. I can't wait to see you at GHS. Thank you for your work and your support. Just a pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, and I would also add on to it. It's a pleasure to have all three of you here. And, I would say that this little piece of EV Smart, right, and Calvin knows this as well, is you don't have to be an EV hotel now to get EV Smart to make your hotel a smart hotel.
Yes.
We're able to offer this, and these are our own brands. This is not a Honeywell thermostat. This is not a Kaba lock. This is a EV branded smart device with the EV Smart app that controls all of these devices, including the energy management that controls the water usage, that lets you know how much of the water usage, how much of the energy consumption that you're doing. So this is something that has been created that's just very innovative, and people should be excited. If you're not excited, then I don't know what to tell you. You must be a Minnesota Twins fan.
Yikes.
Ouch.
Those are fighting words.
Yeah, that was pretty woo.
I'm like, I'm out.
Well,
I'm going.
No, I love you, Minnesota Twins. I know you've never beat my Yankees in the postseason, but I still love you, and you never will, but it's okay. It's okay. But yeah, thank you, Calvin. Thank you for being here on a short notice. I appreciate that. And, I look forward to obviously chatting with you again. And I will be live chatting with you again. I know that.
Oh, absolutely. You trust me. You'll be hearing. We'll be talking a lot, actually. And
Yeah,
Stephanie,
yeah.
welcome again to the board. Truly excited to have you a part of our organization. And Jeffrey, as always, man, much respect to you, my brother. And thank you, Ken, for having me on. Okay.
Thanks, Calvin.
Thank you, Calvin. Really nice meeting you.
You as
Look forward
well.
to connecting
Bye-bye.
soon.
Have a lovely day.
All right, you too.
Take care.
Okay.
Take care, Calvin. So I know we got a late start to the show, but I mean, what do you guys think? I mean, if you guys want to add anything into the EV Smart, what you guys think about it? If not, we can obviously move on.
So Ken, I don't know. I mean, I'm not really sure if you take questions. I just want to know more. So I know when I started talking to people about being on the board, and I started, as you know, I get asked a lot, and I say respectfully and very kindly no, just because it's not maybe necessarily my passion, or I've maybe grown past it, or whatever it happens to be. I'm so passionate about this because of how much I travel, and not only how much I travel, but how I travel. So I travel, and I'm so ingrained in my clients and what's going on with them. And obviously, all the stuff that happens whenever I'm dealing with a client. So I need to have those conveniences that are time efficiencies and are just are really important for me to be able to perform at a high level. And so when you say things like, okay, EV Smart is announcing it's a new brand. Okay. Tell me about it, and tell me how does it work? Like, how would one use it?
Right. So I would tell you they're in the middle of creating the website. It's going to be called evsmarthotels.com.
Okay.
So there's a total of 27 devices. So you would pretty much download the EV Smart app on your phone. Now that app will control any device that is in that room, any single device, including the door lock, including the mirror, the toilet, the shower, the smart speaker, the universal remote, the lighting, the curtain. You can actually physically open the curtain now. You don't have to go walk to the curtain to open the curtain. So you will be able to, and it's like in the morning, right? Like the worst thing, I will tell you this, I would give you guys a true story. The worst thing for me is I get up in the morning at a hotel room, and I'm like, my God, I forgot to close that curtain to those 2 inches. And now the sunlight is coming right on me. And
you need to get up earlier, my friend.
Yeah. Like, I mean, that's where I'm like, look, this is what I thought of. These are the things that I thought of. And I'm like, how do we automate that curtain, right? How do we automate all these other things that we haven't been able to automate in that single room? Now for the hotel, they will know there's a flood detector, there's a leak detector. These are all these devices that are going to be in this room. So now for the maintenance guys, they know when to fix it. They know when to take care of it. They know when there's a leak. For the hotel, also the insurance cost comes down because now you're detecting these things faster. So there's a lot of this automation. So these devices aren't only focused on the guest aspect, right? For the ownership aspect. So, but for the guest, I mean, they got the entire process automated at this point. The entire process, right? The smart speaker that's in the room as well. It's just like an Alexa. So it's the smart speakers in the room. Now you're going to be able to kind of program the TV to that smart speaker. You're going to be able to personalize. There's an option in this app that says welcome. When the guest hits welcome, all the lights, the curtains open up, Wow. And then when they
remember? So like, say that I come to the hotel, and then maybe a month later when I'm back, does it remember my settings, and does it remember that I was okay? That's awesome. Yeah.
It's a whole different thing. The industry's never seen. Trust me that the company that I had made the devices, I had to tell them how I wanted it, what I wanted done, how I wanted it done, what I felt like the guests are going to want. It's been a project. I'm not going to lie. And I think if you, Stephynie, you know me, Dr. J, you know me, I put in 18 to 20 hours a day, every single day, 7 days a week. So I don't stop. This is not going to be the last thing I create. There is going to be more. And just get ready. I'll give you an instant. That smart speaker I'm telling you about, there's going to be delivery robots attached to it. So once you tell the smart speaker that go get me a water from the vending machine, that delivery robot's going to be able to get you that water from the vending machine and bring it right to your room. So there is a lot more coming.
Fascinating stuff. Fascinating. The
Yes.
Internet of Things has been around for several years now, but it's amazing how our industry, the hospitality industry, has not really leveraged that, right, in the way that they should have. So I'm glad to see you doing all of these things, which I think are going to be hugely beneficial to our industry, not only the owner side of things, but also the customers who are coming into the properties to stay.
Agreed.
Yeah,
And you know what, Dr. O, the other thing I was thinking about is what a dream for procurement. I mean, what a dream to be able to like actually truly anticipate, you know, energy, anticipate usage, anticipate detection, like any sort of service or product that you're going to need. What an amazing model, metrics for procurement and ultimately the owner.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you know, I'm never going to speak bad about a brand, but hey, look, they weren't able to scale it, so that gave me the opportunity to scale it. So I mean, you know, one's loss is one's win, you know, and I feel like what I'm able to do in the way is this has been my vision. I'm not doing this for money. I'm doing this for 25 years being in the business that I want the next 25 years to be even better. So I feel as a country, I'm all about the United States of America. And why are we behind when I look at other countries? So we need to get to their level and exceed it. And this is how we're going to do it, you know? So that kind of takes me from the good to the bad. Okay. I don't know if I should say bad, but it's very concerning to me and extremely concerning to me as being in this industry 25 years when I see friction and the cause of friction that I felt like it's not new, but where we currently sit with it, right? And we've kind of spoken about this, is what is going on between the hotelier and the franchises, right? So we have, I think this was earlier this year, why I wanted to bring it up because it's still happening and more of this is happening, is that we have hotel franchises from Connecticut, Texas, and Louisiana joined a class action lawsuit against IHG. And the complaints have been array of franchise and anti-competitive practices. Acorn Hotel Group, PM Lodging, Tumble, I believe, and Vimo Patel from Louisiana that started the lawsuit. And it talks about the kickback programs that all these brands have, the inflatable pricing for poor quality products that they have. And they're stating, and I've heard it from a lot of people. For me, I'm not really going to say who's right or who's wrong, but clearly we have some work to do here. And, you know, I would love to get the input, obviously starting with Stephynie first. I mean, you're probably that go-to person when they know they're in trouble and they're calling you at 3 a.m. So I know that you probably have a lot to say about this one.
You know, it just comes down to ethics. It comes down to morals. It comes down to, you know, it always blows me away that in 2021, we're having this conversation. People believe in like the low cost leader, or people believe in, you know, shaving margin and shaving. It's all about relationships. Like, I understand what they're trying to do. I really do. They're trying to drive the cost down, and I get that. But there's a way to do that. And it all starts with relationships. It all starts with a win-win. And when people start driving business with different agendas, it doesn't work out. So, I mean, Ken, we've talked about this in my consulting practice. I mean, how many times were we driven to, you know, I don't even know, like a woman-owned or minority-owned specialized vendor list. But a specialized vendor list isn't based on performance or metrics. It's based on gender or inequality or whatever it happens to be. This specifically, getting kickbacks, creating a list, like what was the measurement of success for the list? What were the metrics for the list? Who were the participants within the list? And I think if you actually dig a little deeper and you look at who the kickbacks went to and you look at who truly profited, I think you'll be absolutely stunned that this is still going on with all of the Q&As that we have. It's crazy.
Without a doubt, Stephanie. And I would tell you the first exact conversation. I mean, we have a huge, and I'm going to say huge partner in our in our hotel brand, right? And they're one of the top companies out there that we're working with design, build out, and all that, right? And the first thing I mentioned to them that this hotel brand will never be about any sort of kickbacks. I'm not looking to make money off the kickbacks, the vendors, all of this. Whatever savings you were going to give me, give it to the hotel year. Give it to the hotel year. We're only concerned, and I'm not going to sit here and not say that we're not looking to make money. I think business is all about making money, right? We're going to collect a franchise fee, and we're happy with that. We're okay with that.
Absolutely.
And that's what I believe it should be. It should be the simple model as to what are you having them sign that you get paid for. And it should be just a franchise fee. And that's what I think we should be at. There should be any sort of savings that anybody gets. It should go to the hotel year.
I agree with that, but not only that, Ken, here's the thing. Mm-hmm. Where's the savings? Because there's a middleman and then a second middleman and then a third middleman. Where's this? It's a margin stack. And so when there's a margin stack on something around service or around product, no one wins. And not even the service. I mean, not even the service or the product provider. The people that win are in the middle that are the brokers. Why don't you have a relationship already keenly developed? I mean, if I got a bill for $10 million and I know you and you're in the hotel industry and I call you and you're my friend and we've done business together, you're going to give me a better deal. So why not create those relationships opposed to just driving the market down?
Exactly. I agree. I mean, there's so much that they can do. And I feel like it's been the point where no wonder everybody's frustrated. People say that it's because of COVID. I don't think this is COVID. I just think it's been building for years and years and years and years. That's what it's been. Dr. Jeffrey?
Yeah, it's a tough situation, right? I don't have any information specific to the cases that you mentioned, but I think the relationship between brands and owners should be a symbiotic relationship, right? It should not be an adversarial relationship. And it's heartbreaking when you see lawsuits flying around. It's like, this is not what we want to see. We are about hospitality, about welcoming people, about holding hands and working together. That's what we're looking for, finding commonalities, looking at the things that unite us rather than the things that would divide us as human beings. So that's the spirit of hospitality. So it's distressing to see this happen, what's happening with the lawsuits. But I think it would be great to have both parties sit down and work out a resolution. Ideally, that's what I would love to see happen, rather than the lawsuits that are currently taking place. People resort to lawsuit when they think that there's been a breakdown in negotiation. They think we can't talk to each other anymore, so let's just go to court and have someone else, help resolve the issue. So again, the hotel owners need the brands need the hotel owners. It should be a symbiotic relationship, not an adversarial one. I really would love to see an instance where the parties that are involved get together and try to hash out their differences rather than taking the issues to court to battle each other. I think, again, we're about hospitality, we're about working together and finding common cause. And that's really what we should be about, ultimately.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, this has to, in a way, come to a middle ground, right? Because I've been saying this since this even came out, that this is bad when we have a labor situation. It's not a good thing that we have a labor situation. We have lawsuits. Those two L words should not belong in this industry. It's not a good look to tell an employee, come work in our industry. But we have lawsuits and we have labor situations, so
we need love and loyalty.
There you go.
Love
That's
and loyalty.
Yeah, loyalty. A lot of loyalty,
Yes.
So I think they need to figure this out. I think they need to get people on a happy ground. And this is, people ask me they always ask me about my hotel brand. I said, whatever you've seen, whatever you think is a negative, just think of us the other way. We're the positive, right?
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully they see that and they turn their things around and make their current hoteliers, their supporters of their brand, more happy. I think at the end of the day, everyone can make money in this industry. Everyone.
Mm-hmm.
No one's looking to take somebody out. No one's looking to undercut somebody because there's enough money to go around. There's enough people. There's enough hotels. It's just we need to come to a strategic pattern of how to do things. And hopefully they figure it out. I'm not their consultant or their advisor. So, I'm sure they got better people than me to figure that out. So I'm sure they're doing that. But so the next thing, it takes me to Miami. I'm sure everybody here has been to Miami, one of my favorite places. But this is obviously not good news about Miami right now. This is actually definitely not good news. So it kind of takes me that, I told people, and I mentioned this, it's about the DoubleTree and the lenders actually foreclosing on the DoubleTree near the Miami International Airport there. I had a conversation about 3 months ago that I said, I think it was a July memorandum that's why there weren't a lot of foreclosures happening, right? And I said, once we get into Q4, we're going to see a lot of foreclosures happening throughout the country. I believe this is just the start of it. Right? This is just the start of it. This property was acquired in 2009 at $11.7 million. And right now it's at a $33 million debt. How's that happen? But that's another question for another time, right? Is how do you become almost 3 times more than what you bought in debt to begin with? But that also tells me that is the trend this industry's kind of been following, right? Is borrow money to buy properties, right? So, but I'll go to you, probably Stephynie here first again is, you're an expert with this. You know a lot about this sector and you know a lot about how all this works. I mean, what do you think about this? What do you think is going to happen here as we see properties like this going into foreclosure?
Well, so here's what I think about this initially. I think you nailed it at the very beginning. I think that people borrow money to go into something that they're very unfamiliar with. They don't have the proper people around them for support. They think it's cool to own a hotel brand. They don't have any idea the work that it takes to not only to go in, but to flip it, to actually flip the brand or flip the concept or whatever it happens to be. They underestimate how much it's going to cost. And right now, banks are at an all-time high for just giving money away. Yeah. I couldn't believe last week I was talking to an investor and an investor was telling me some of the debts that they have actually bought. And I was astounded at who approved that. Like if you look at somebody's job history, you look at their resume and you look at like every 18 months or every 9 months or every 11 months, I don't care how much money they made. I care about how much impact or how much growth they had within the company, but they've never been there long enough. And then you look at the debt, the amount of debt that they've accumulated. It's twofold, Ken, just like you said. It's inexperience and it's banks giving whomever or investors giving whomever money.
It's crazy. It's crazy to me. And Stephynie, I will even tell you, a few days ago, I found out maybe 3 days ago that an AC Marriott in Phoenix sold for $60 million. I'm like, are you kidding me? $60 million for an AC Marriott?
I'm very familiar.
Is this thing made out of gold? You know what I mean? What is going on?
I'm not going to tell you what they said. They said location. And if you saw where it was, you still wouldn't be able to believe it.
No,
$60 million.
I know. And, I don't want to talk. I know exactly who bought it, but I'll just leave it as is. But, that's not a smart investment at all. That's not a smart investment. I know people want hotels. I know you want to position yourself as a company. But I think you need to go back to school. Or you know what? Even better, they have classes online at Cornell University. You need to take some of those because this is, or even IHI. I'm sorry. I should have, that was my plug. or IHI right
actually,
there.
Ken, you know what? I don't think anybody needs school. I think you need to go work at a hotel, that type of hotel. And I think you need to do every single department for 3 to 4 months. And then you need, after at the end of that time, I think you need to get, even if you have the money, is that something you want? Do you feel like you have the talent to train and develop and retain somebody, the people that actually keep that hotel running? It's not about running. It's about the overall innate experience that you have when you're at that hotel. But you have to work in housekeeping. You have to work in janitorial. You have to work at the front desk. You have to see those crazy guests and those amazing guests. You have to experience all of that. That's not a money.
I mean,
thing.
the thing is, right. And the thing is too, Stephynie, is that I know myself, and I hate to sound like I'm so conceited with this, but my EV brand is going to crush that hotel in Phoenix. You know what I mean? The Westin.
You heard it here first, people.
I mean, you know, the Westin, I mean, our rooftop is going to be like no other rooftop, right? It's going to be just crazy. But the Westin is there. The Kimpton is there. All these other hotels are right in that market, that radius.
Yeah.
That is mind-boggling to me that someone would spend it for an AC Marriott when you got a Kimpton, when you got a Westin. You know a W's coming next there. It is absolutely coming there. But Dr. J?
Yeah, there's been a lot of, I don't have any information specific to the particular deal you mentioned, but I must tell you the Miami situation reminds me of what happened back in 2008. Back in 2008, I ran a hotel management company based in the Northeast US, and we owned and managed a bunch of hotels. And I tell you, we had a recession back then. You had the dreaded jingle mails where people mail keys back to the bank. And what's happening in Miami that you just showed sort of makes me flash back to that. And it brings back all sorts of negative memories. So hopefully things are going to get better. I think it would be nice to have forbearance done with some of these owners. If banks are able to work out if forbearance deal with a particular owner, that might be better, right? If it's possible to do that. But there may be times that the owner may not even be interested in holding onto the asset. They may just want to be rid of it and move on to something else. So it's a tough situation. My heart breaks for people who invest in the business, hoping to profit from it, hoping to do well and provide jobs for people from it, only to have it all crash, right? As business people, we can all relate to that. You never want that. I have invested in several businesses in my life, and some have worked out, some have not worked out. And it's always tough when you fail. But I always say, if you want to marry success, you have to be prepared to date failure. It comes along with it. There's no avoiding that. And you mentioned, some bad deals, right? And what's happening now when you've got people, banks giving out money, you've got good money chasing bad deals. Yes. People coming up with half-baked business plans. I happen to be involved in an investment group, and we invest in, all kinds of businesses. Last year, we invested in 5 different companies. And I can tell you, you've got a lot of bad business plans out there. Ideas that are completely half-baked, that will never see the light of day, that really should not see the light of day because they're not grounded in reality. The fundamentals are not what they should be. And people plow ahead and invest in these companies only to have them completely fizzle. So I think anyone who wants to invest in any deal, be it a hotel deal or any other kind of deal, they need to do their homework. Much like Stephynie mentioned, you can't just go for it because there is gold in them dark hills. So I'm just going to go do it because it's going to be a quick buck for me. Because if that's what you're looking to do, it may not pan out. You have to be in it for the long term, knowing that the fundamentals are strong and that what you're investing in is something that's close to your heart. If you invest in something that you have no passion for, that you don't care about, the likelihood of you succeeding, it's going to be much slimmer, right? Because there's no passion in it. If you're doing something that you truly love, much like what Stephynie does and what you do, Ken, then the passion shines through. When you talk to people, your eyes light up, your voice, people listen to you and think, this is someone who's really into this. But if you're just putting money into it because you're looking for a fast buck, you may or may not succeed.
Yeah.
Ken, if I can jump onto that really fast, if I can just say something really quick to add on what Dr. O said, I also think too, what's really, really important is addressing the gap. So there's no deal flow. So there's no hotels up for sale. So everybody's jumping at this, oh my gosh, I get to own a hotel. But how are you addressing the gap in the hospitality industry? What are your differentiators? What is your niche? And I think that that's where you so beautifully You jumped in and you said, what about this? What about this? What about this? And you got the experts to create it. Yes, you oversaw it. And yes, you founded it. And yes, it was your vision. But if there wasn't something that you knew, you didn't just kind of hang out and sit around and go, you know, we'll like he said, like, we'll figure it out. You went and got the best. And I think that people's arrogance and I think that their deep pockets sometimes get the best of them and they don't ask for help fast enough.
Yeah, I agree. I've seen this. I've seen it. I've witnessed it. That people call me about it too. They're like, "Oh, do you think it's smart to build it here?" I'm like, "Why would you want to build it there? There's a hotel that's almost the same model as you."
Right.
Are you kidding me?
Exactly.
They're like, "No, but I want my hotel there because my cousin's hotel is on the next block." And I'm like,
it's like the movie line. If you build it, they will come.
Right.
Not necessarily the case.
You're like, really, you guys? That's not the case.
Yeah, they may not come. They're in the wrong location at the wrong time. They may not come.
I tell people, I'm like, look, I know there's other people building. I've seen people come from the airline industry. I've seen people go from the gas station industry. I've seen people from being an engineer come to the hotel industry. And all of these people just decide they're going to build a hotel, open a hotel, and, oh, we're going to hire a management company. They'll run it. They'll do well. I'm like,
wow.
okay. You know, but I mean, these are the
Call
days.
me. Call me.
You know, I think this, you know, and to be honest with you guys, is that it's they're going to have to see the downfall of this. It's the only way. They're going to have to see the downfall. Just like when we had the housing crisis where people were buying in bubble, no stated doc, whatever loans there were, those, and money's being lent out. People are operating hotels everywhere or owning hotels and building them. I see a loan where I live. It's not happening where I live, but in the next towns over, that I see it all the time on LinkedIn. Oh, this hotel opened, that hotel opened, this hotel's opening. But we still have a labor issue. That doesn't get resolved and more hotels opening. What do you think the next thing? There's a bubble, obviously, here. If people don't realize, if you guys are listening in, there is a bubble, okay? It's a bubble. I don't know if it's going to burst or not. I'm not going to say that, but there is a bubble. And you should probably look at the bubble being we're opening more hotels and the labor issue is still not resolved. So you can open the hotel, but figure out a way to operate with the labor issue, right? And that's automation. So that kind of takes me to my next thing, okay? And I am going to probably bring this and take this to outside the United States at this point. And I think before the article, were you guys aware of who H2O was? Did you guys know H2O at all?
No.
Okay. So, and even for our audience, H2O just secured a $30 million Series C to expedite hotel digital transformation. This company, it operates out of China. They focus very much on the hotel digital transformation. I think it's mostly in South Korea. They're going to be doing it in Indonesia, Singapore. Everything about them is automation. Every single thing about them is automation. The pandemic, they say, has triggered more demand for contactless and staffless operations in the hospitality sector. Now, H2O Hospitality, the unmanned hotel management company, has closed that $30 million, right? To me, this is where their previous raise was $7 million. So obviously, there's a lot of people believing in what they're doing. The only problem is they're not in the United States. And they're doing everything in every country except the United States. Now, they're speaking with several hotel companies. My issue here is, are they getting shut down by the hotel brands in the United States? And is this a lot of the reason why we're so slow to dealing with the hotel digital transformation. I feel like I might be not the only person dealing with the digital transformation in this country, but I feel like I am the only person that's doing all of it. I'm not taking a small component of it. I'm doing like the whole shebang. And I kind of probably want to go with you, Dr. Jeffrey, on this being a very hot topic, even for your convention coming up that I'm going to be speaking at as well. And you have a lot of big name players in that convention with Chip Rogers and Howard Schultz, the former, obviously the founder of the Ritz Carlton brand. So, you know, I want to go to you and ask you, what do you think about this? As you have a company like this in Asia, I mean, we would be like, what, 4 years behind by the time they get to Singapore?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, what is going on here?
I always say that technology is a moving train. You can get in front of it or you can get inside of it. So I think what's happening, a lot of companies don't want to be first responders. When you've got a new concept out there, people want you to do it, work out the kinks, and see it work for someone else before they consider using it. And it doesn't necessarily mean that some of these folks are Luddites. It just means that they're not excited until they see the excitement happening somewhere else. That's sort of what you're saying, right? That's what's happening. Success breeds success. So I think, you know, the technology is something that our industry really needs to adopt, right? We can't see it like a zero-sum game. I've had people say to me, if you're going to have robots and AI and artificial intelligence and all of that, you know, you're going to displace people. I say it's not a zero-sum game. It's possible to deploy technology to operationalize AI and find efficiencies and still have people. The manufacturing industry is doing it. The retail industry is doing it. A lot of industries are doing that. We can't be left behind. We need to get involved in it. So relating to H2O that you mentioned, I think they probably want to gain some traction in Asia and then eventually spread into the US. If the US hotel companies, hospitality companies see it taking off handsomely in Asia, then they might be tempted to want to give it a shot. So people sort of want something as a low-risk model, right? They want to see it working for someone else. How is it working? Who's using it? How are people responding to it? What kind of efficiencies and profits are you seeing from it? And if those things are right, then the folks in the US are going to be more receptive to trying out that technology. So, but what you're doing is you are going into what I might call uncharted waters in the US. You're going to do something that people have not done before, which is what true trailblazers do. There's a reason why they're called trailblazers. They're going somewhere where people haven't gone before, right? It's not the path that's well worn, it's a path that's not been bitten, the track that's not been bitten. And that's what you're going to walk on as a visionary. So you're doing that, it comes with a lot of risk. You have to have a healthy appetite for risk if you're going to be doing what you're doing now. You know that. We are all business people. We started businesses. And when you're doing that, you're going to have a healthy appetite for risk because it may work and it may not work, or it may not work as quickly as you want it to work. So, but I think the US folks in the hotel industry, they're not against adopting more technology. I think it's just a slower pace of adoption in the US compared to what you're saying in Asia.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the thing is, I would tell you, it's very hard for me to process in a way and even stomach some days, as I graduated from Emirates Academy in Dubai. And so sorry, Alexa's getting in my way of being on the show right now, but
Alexa's being smart with your smart technology.
Yeah. So I would tell you, even graduating from Emirates Academy in Dubai and working at the Burj and dealing with all that, I never thought, why would we be so behind? And over years, I got to find out that it's just that we don't want to do it. We just don't want to do it. I think there's no leadership in the movement, right? There's no leadership in the movement. They don't believe in it. The top tier that we have, I feel like they've been grandfathered in. It's like a Verizon cell phone plan, right? They say if you have that unlimited plan, you can keep it, even though we get a new plan. Don't worry about the new plan. You can keep your old plan.
Right. Right.
So that's
I
how
also
we.
too think, Ken, I also think to what Dr. Jeffrey just said was the other thing is that people don't want to be first to market because it costs so much money to
Yes.
educate the market.
I
So they're
agree.
like, you go ahead and fail, and then we'll take everything that you've done and we'll do it differently. But then there's a cost. So here's the cost. I can't remember what it is, but it's a very large number. I think it's 63 or 67% first to market obtains the market share, 67% of the market share. Good or bad. If you're first to market, that's what you obtain. But your budget, your marketing to educate the market, you don't see the return for 3 to 5 years. We are Americans are risk adverse no matter what. They're risk adverse. So when it comes to something like this, and quite frankly, I mean, look at the proof is in the pudding. We're not usually on the cutting edge of technology or service ever.
No, we aren't. You're so right. And I mean, you know it better than anybody, Stephanie, right? You've worked with all these Fortune 500 companies. And it's not like you've just worked with them on an entry level item. I mean, you've worked with the executives of these companies, so you know exactly how they operate. You know what they do. The mindset isn't there, right?
It's not. And the Kool-Aid, the Kool-Aid. So it's kind of like just changing their perspective or trying to get them to have an infinite mindset opposed to a finite mindset. Think of what other people are thinking, and they're like, wait, what? So it's and I get it. A lot of times executives, especially Fortune 100 to 500, they have to be narrowly focused. They have to be focused on their demographic and their team. And I get that. But I'm talking about service, to Dr. Jeffrey's point earlier, it's not that those jobs will go away. We're actually going to force people into human connection. So we're actually going to force people into soft skills like EQ, self-awareness, self-actualization, and not so much I don't want to say robotic because I don't feel like that's kind, but like maybe the skills that they wouldn't necessarily be client facing or interacting with guests. Now they'll have to hone in those skills of not directing people, but actually walking with people and taking them. They'll actually have to really focus on being kind and really, really empathetic.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think what probably needs to happen with everything we do now is we have to think twice, right? We have to, especially when I look at it. And I have friends throughout the country, right? And throughout the world, right? Especially when I talk to people, and I'm sure you guys do internationally as well. But when you speak to somebody in a country like Singapore and they tell you, oh, I got this today. I'm like, what the hell is that? What is that? I've never seen that. I've never heard about that. But it's that. It's the technology that they have. We haven't even received it yet. So, I mean, it's very different, right? So I kind of want to take you guys to the last piece of the article. I mean, I know we had a little bit more than that, but we've been way over time. But this has been a great panel. I enjoyed it a lot, having you guys here as well. So, but this was very interesting to me because I said, what is old Billy up to here? I said, what is Bill Gates up to here? What does he want with the Four Seasons, right? What does he think the Four Seasons is about? And not only did he invest and spend $2.21 billion for 24%, almost 24, 23.75, but he acquired this from the Saudi prince. He bought it from the Saudi prince of this. And I said, what does Bill Gates want with this? And I came up with the answer of he is bringing technology to the hotel industry because of the fact Microsoft just put a huge investment into the oil hotels, the OYO hotels out of India. Ritz Carlton has 50 hotels in the pipeline. They just announced their long-awaited New Orleans Four-Season hotel on the river of Mississippi there. So, and Elon Musk got into hospitality by opening now restaurants in Texas. So we're having these key players. Is this bad news for the brands? I think so. I think it's bad news for the brands But Ritz Carlton, to have a player like Bill Gates, oh my God! I mean, we know how many Bill Gates fans there are out there. I mean, what do you guys think, Stephynie? You go ahead first, and on this one is, what do you think this means? I mean, you work with these CEOs, so I'm really gonna be listening into what your insight is on this one.
I think I'm going to do a hard pass on this one. I don't really know. Ken, I always look for the simplicity in things, especially for these guys that are chronically crunching numbers all day long. Elon Musk and Bill Gates, while they're incredibly strategic, we also have seen things that they've done just for fun or just to diversify or just to throw $2 billion away. My initial opinion is I wouldn't focus too keenly on it right now. It could be, as all of these guys, Bill just got a divorce. Elon sold everything and moved to Texas and living in a tiny house. Who knows what midlife crisis they're going through next? I don't even know.
Well, I would even tell you yesterday's news, $50 million that Elon Musk donated to the St. Jude Children's Hospital. I was like, wow. And then I saw this happen with Bill Gates. I'm in the same boat. I don't know what's going to happen here. It could be something big. It could be nothing, right?
Right.
But the number, what kind of drove me to that, saying that it could be something big, is the 50 hotels in the pipeline for Ritz Carlton, right? Ritz Carlton right now has 121 hotels. So they're going to get 50 more, and they only have 121. So what's the play there? And if you guys don't know, Ritz Carlton is huge on technology.
Yes.
All the things that I'm doing, they already have a play of it. So I think they're building onto this, but like you said, Stephynie, I could be wrong and could be nothing, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think right now, I think that they're all just kind of grabbing at different things. And also, too, I mean, you guys, we have to think about, and one of the things I always think about is, where do they have fun? Where do they blow off steam? Like, what do they become? Like, what are their passions? They can't go to a baseball game or a basketball game, or, they buy a team instead. So where are their, I mean, Steve Ballmer, like, what?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I mean, so it's just, you can't really tell. And I think that they expect so much press from it. And so many people are like, oh, what's next? I don't really do that. I'm just like, you guys go have fun and we'll see how it plays out.
Exactly. I agree. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see. Dr. J, what do you think?
I think it's a good thing. I think having folks interested in investing in hospitality is always a good thing, especially when you've got players like Bill Gates. I mean, just the excitement and interest that he brings alone, that's massive.
Oh, I love it too.
Yeah,
I mean,
I think it can't be a negative thing, especially if he's going to help, leverage technology, introduce technology into some of these hotels. If he's able to do that, maybe nudge them to add even more technology to what they're currently doing. I think that can only be a great thing. And that's going to be in alignment with what you're preaching anyway, which is more technology in hotels,
Yeah, I think it's great. I think it's phenomenal. I've said this as well. Elon Musk is getting his own hotel. It's coming. It's going to happen. I don't care what anybody says. It's going to happen, right? And I think everybody, I mean, we know Pharrell Williams has his own hotel, Good Time Hotel in Miami. That's doing phenomenal. Richard Gere has his own hotel. I mean, there's so many people that have their own hotel, right? And I think that play is coming now, that they see that the boutique independent brands are doing well.
Right.
And these people, these celebrities, these athletes, and all these other famous people, they do not want branded. They don't want the big brands. They don't want to deal with them. They don't want the headache. So they feel now's the time that they can get into these other brands. And I love it. I just love it. It makes our industry even better, right?
I think so.
I mean,
and that's it. Does it? So here's my question, Ken. So if Bill Gates if he put that money in to the Four Seasons, if he did that, Is it going to be, so what's the technology going to be like? So going in my previous consulting firm, we owned a consulting firm and we partnered with Microsoft. They didn't allow iPhones or any iPads or any other thing from any of their vendors coming in. They did not allow it. So like if we were in a meeting, they didn't allow it. You had to use a Surface and they would take yours and switch it out and give you something. What does that look like for hotel brands? Is it going to be Android? Is it going to be, iPhone? And how is it going to play? Because you know better than anybody, the technology is developed. And as much as you want to say it's agnostic, it always plays better on one or the other devices.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we've just heard recently now that iPhone said and Apple said now you can open your door lock, right? They just came out with that technology, right? And I don't know if you guys know, Apple actually built their own hotel on their campus in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
So, wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I don't know if it's open, but there's the plan in that. I think someone was telling me it is open because I put it on LinkedIn months and months ago when they were doing the campus, that huge campus that just looks like it's out of an alien ship to me. You know? It's
that's not awesome.
Yeah, they were doing their own hotel with all the Apple products and all that, right? But I feel Microsoft Play, and I don't know if you guys heard, the new Windows is going to have the Google Play Store part of it. So
interesting.
Yeah, so I think this is a very big play in what's happening here. I've said Google's going to be part of this industry, and they already are. They're already part of this industry. You know, and I'm not going to lie, I'm trying to work with all of them. I don't care. Google, all of them.
You're like, let's go.
I'm like, let's go. I love you guys all. I mean, even though I'm not a huge Apple fan, I've never had an Apple phone, never had an iPad. I've always started with Samsung, S1, S2, S3, whatever, up to it. But we need all these guys. We need them.
For
we
sure.
need them to be part of the
Without a doubt.
So
Great.
that kind of takes me to the end of the show today on Hospitality 360 Live. I thank you, Stephynie Malik. I thank you, Dr. J, for coming on.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure to have you guys on. I think now this is the official longest show I've ever had. It's the greatest one, and I don't want to knock any of my past guests, but you two have been such an honor to have on this show, and I'm glad that I was able to get both of you on this show, and especially Stephynie Malik. Thank you for being on the EVHH board, and Dr. J, thank you for having me on your board. So, hope to see you guys again, and we'll chat soon.
Thank
you so much for the incredible conversation.
Thanks, Ken. Brilliant. Thank you. Thanks, Stephynie.
Thank you, Dr. J.
It's your pleasure. Thanks, Ken.